Hey, what's going on? Kevin Yates here from kevinyates.org, and I just want to share a quick video today. I want to share 3 core training kind of rules for a stronger core. Now, this isn't going to be like, the typical do this exercise, do that one. I think there's enough of that kind of stuff going on all over YouTube and the internet and all that stuff nowadays. It's really, it's about understanding how to train your core and develop core strength. Particularly if you're struggling with any kind of nagging aches, pains, injuries. I can't tell you how many recreational athletes, fitness enthusiasts I've seen and I've worked with over the years. I've dealt with my own stuff. You guys who follow me know all about, injury history that I've had. And I see it time and time again that, these people are trying to strengthen their core. We're all aware of how important it is to build core strength, right? And to be stronger and to be healthier and to stay injury free. But a lot of the times I'm seeing like a lot of mistakes. So I just want to share kind of three quick rules to understand. They are very, very critical to developing core strength and keeping yourself pain and injury free. So let's start with it. I mean, the first thing to understand is that, the core, it's more than just your abs. And I see so many people when they think about core training, they think it's just like abdominal training, right? So they're doing planks and they're doing crunches and they're doing leg raises. And we got to understand that the core is more than just your abs, right? It's so much more than that. Your core, really your core is linked to pretty close to all the muscles in your body if you think about it. Everything that is directly part of it, right? We think abs, we think obliques, we think we've got so many muscles in there, but then it extends out from there, right? So the muscles in your hips, your glutes, your hamstrings, right? Even your hip flexors, your quadriceps, those are all part of your core. And also, muscles in your upper back, your mid back, right? Basically the muscles that connect to your rib cage, your spine, and or your pelvis really are considered core muscles. So that is like, if we're only training our abs, we are missing so much more. And that's what happens is most people, they're only getting a fraction of the core training in, and it just leaves these big gaps, and then obviously the weaker you are in your core, then the more likely you are to come down with, nagging aches, pains, and these injuries, right? That seem like they're part of just getting older, right? And it's not true. It's really not addressing the imbalances in our body, and particularly when it comes to training our core. So it's more than just the abs, and the more imbalances we have, or the greater the degree of imbalances, the more likely we are to develop pain and injuries, okay? So the one thing that we need, right? Rule number 1, like when we're training the core, it's important to understand we need to train our core in multi-directional stability. Now, what in the hell does that mean, right? It just means that these muscles in our core are not only designed to move us, but they're designed to protect us against different types of force, right? There's different forces that we're dealing with every day, whether you're training, whether you're just, running around doing everyday activities, or whether you're playing sports. There's forces that are placed on our body. And if our muscles are not properly conditioned to withstand these forces, they cause like wear and tear on things like the spine and the discs of the spine and the joints, tendons, ligaments, all that kind of stuff. So we need to understand, like we need to train our core to be stable against different types of forces. So what these are like forces that push us back, like extending our spine, hyperextending more in particular is the one thing, right? Forward bending, we need stability front and back. We also need it side to side, right? And then we also need stability against twisting, right? Rotational forces that can twist us, particularly when we don't expect it, right? So, those are the times when we're vulnerable in any of these type of movement patterns, when we don't have like the ability to stabilize ourselves. That's where we get hurt. Our spine, this is all we've got to protect it really is the muscles in our body. So we've really got to be like developing and conditioning these muscles of our core to stabilize our spine, to stabilize our pelvis, right? All these types of injuries that happen, really, the majority of them are caused by imbalances, just imbalances that are left unaddressed, right? Sometimes we're not even aware of them. So then the second thing is that we need multi-directional movements as well. Okay, so the muscles of our core, we know they're designed to stabilize us, and they're also designed to move us. But we don't just move in one direction. And this is why if we're only training abs, if we're only doing planks, if we're only doing like bridges, if we're only doing crunches and leg raises, we're only moving in one direction. And it's this way. It's like forward, backward, flexion, extension. That's all we're doing. But our body's designed to move in three main planes. That's only one of them. Our bodies are designed also to move side to side and to twist and rotate. And every joint in our bodies has the ability to rotate and needs to be able to rotate in order for us to move properly. And when we're not training that rotation, we start losing it. And once we start losing it, now we're limited to which directions and which movements we can perform. And that's why a lot of times, like when we come out with these like injuries, it's not because the movements are bad for us. It's because we're not properly conditioning our muscles, particularly the core muscles, to effectively move through these patterns and be strong and stable and have healthy movement, right? So we need that. We need to move in all those three different directions. So again, core training has to what's the word I'm looking for? Involve these three different types of movement patterns, right? Flexion, extension, side to side, and rotation. And then finally, the last one's like no overkill. You can go into any gym, pretty much any day and see, if you could see the regulars who work out there and the people who train hard, they'll typically be training abs like every day. And it's this, I don't know where we come up with this, that we need to train the abs like and kill them to death. So every day it's like the same thing too. We're training them too often. We're training them with the same repetitive movement patterns. We're neglecting other movement patterns that we need. And so what happens is that, again, we develop these imbalances. You can overtrain your abdominal muscles, and if you overtrain them, then they don't recover well. And guess what? You need those muscles for stability and movement, man. These are like serious muscles that we need. And if we're wiping them out with our training all the time, there's going to be nothing left in the tank to stabilize you and protect your body as you're moving through your day, right? Everyday movements. So, don't train them every day. And it's not just like high rep training. There's this common kind of theme that we need to do a lot of repetitions, all these different crunches and abdominal movements and very low weights. And here's the deal. Again, this is only training the abs like only a part of the way, right? The truth is that our abdominal muscles are primarily what we call fast twitch or phasic muscles, which means that they are designed to perform high intensity type movement patterns. They're designed to perform under heavy loads, under high intensities, and explosive type movement patterns. So if you've got to lift, if you're training in the gym and you're lifting, or you lift something around the house that's heavy, those muscles have to be able to activate and turn on under heavier loads. Also, during sports activities, or if you're running, those muscles in your abs have to be able to perform at a high level. Running, sprinting, golfing, right? Tennis, those types of things. If we're not training them and we're only doing like low weights and lots of high reps, we're really only training them to have more endurance, but we're not training them to become stronger and to be able to work during these higher intensity movements. And in the higher intensity movements, that's a big risk factor, right? So we can't just protect ourselves and live in a bubble and say, oh, I'm never going to move this way or that way. Because honestly, you can't avoid every movement all the time. And even if you could, it's like taking away what you can do in your life. It takes away your freedom. It takes away movements, and it never solves the problem. Okay, we can't solve the problem by avoiding it. And that's about it, you guys. So multi-directional stability, multi-directional movements, and avoid the overkill, right? And vary up the movements that you do, vary up, the training that you do, vary up I just said it, the movements and the exercises, and don't overkill it, right? Your abs are like the other muscles in your body. You wouldn't train your chest or your back every single day, right? So same thing goes for abs. Don't train them every day. And again, remember, the core is more than just the abs. So you've got to really identify not only, all these muscles that are involved and train them, but really being able to identify and address where the weak links are in your body, right? So if your abs are training them all the time, what are the other core muscles that are maybe not quite as strong, that could be imbalanced, right? Looking at those, looking for those, and addressing those, because the more weak links we have, the more likely we are to come down with aches, pains, and injuries. So hopefully this helped. If you got something from this, or you have any questions, comments, feedback, Drop a comment in below, let me know. And until next time, I hope this helped you out. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.